What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business Tuesday Nights Live. My name is Jay. Top auto logistics video news connecting retail, wholesale, logistics, and tech. Your auto transport community media since 2017. Thanks so much for taking the time. Please do leave a like, share, copy, grab the YouTube link. Also, tonight's show, let's talk about it. First of all, I want you to feel welcome. If this is your first time here, please do feel welcome. Feel free to jump in the live chat, kick back, relax. I've got news I'm going to deliver here in a minute. Top headlines tonight: OOIDA Trucking Report. That's interesting. UAW impact on car prices. Dealerships want less EV push. I think we're going to talk about Black Friday, Cyber Monday analytics for a minute. Why not? Because at the quarter hour, we're going to bring in Jamie Suid of Orbee. We're going to get all web traffic data, Google Analytics up in here. And then we're going to bring in a panel with Pinon and Dana Randazzo to help us round out and talk about what we're talking about. Website traffic, data analytics. Let's do this here. Let's go into industry news. Ready? Thanks for jumping in the live chat. Peach, Carlos, Mark, thank you guys so much. All right, ding. It's website traffic data analytics. I realize that, yeah, I know. Couple folks already jumped off, of this topic. But the thing is, if you have a website, and I know you either want one, you have one, or you're not sure what's happening. This is a good show to watch, to learn more about. Let's take another look at what's happening on your website. And a lot of people are embarrassed about their websites, and that's okay. This show is for you. So this is a wider audience than once thought. Jamie Suid was on ATI recently on our car hauling and logistics website lead gen. There's Jamie of Orbee. If you don't know what Orbee does, it's dealer experience, data, website, analytics. You're going to hear the word data so many times, you could probably make a game out of it. Used Car Week, Orbee was at Used Car Week. NADA, Orbee's going to be at NADA. Orbee makes the rounds because Orbee does a lot. Very widely respected company, so we're really lucky to have Jamie here with us tonight to talk about something as exciting as Google Analytics. That stuff that you don't know if you want to look at, and even when you do, you don't know what you're looking at. Is it connected right? There must be a Christmas tree light out somewhere on this thing, and how do we monitor and measure and know? Well, Jamie's going to help us tonight. And I saw this on LinkedIn just today. Like, here's a mystery shopper insight, email leads, phone calls, digital presence, customer reviews, and the percentages and feedback. I mean, how do you know? There's many ways to measure, and so we're going to talk about website traffic tonight. This is the ecosystem's neutral zone. You'll find everything here. You don't know what'll happen when you tune in on a Tuesday. You just know that you'll be able to. You can set your watch and the train by the ATI ecosystem slide coming up at 7:04 p.m. Central Time every Tuesday. Following the disconnect between sales and operations, that's what I'm doing. And so we did last Tuesday podcast stage pointers, which, by the way, there's a lot of people in automotive doing a podcast. And I'll give you a little secret on the podcast stage pointers. One of the things was talking about the Used Car Week podcast stage, and it just so happens, who's going to be with us next Tuesday? Joe Orbee, Cherokee Media. An ATI next Tuesday. And I'm also delivering auto logistics news. I said I would. I spend all day on this stuff. Man, how do you find the news? So bear with me. Shoppers bought these items as Thanksgiving weekend sales hit record $38 billion. Now, I rarely delve outside of automotive, but we're gonna bring this comeback around on the economy. Online consumer spending jumped 7.8% during Cyber Week, or the 5 days from Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, according to Adobe Analytics, outstripping initial expectations for a 5.4% rise. So it jumped. Wow. And that's significant because it's already pretty high. Industry forecasters, including Deloitte and Walmart and Macy's, warned of cautious consumer spending due to sticky inflation constraining budgets, but blockbuster deals rolled out from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday helped more than 200 million shoppers tapped into promotions both in-store and online during the Thanksgiving weekend. And that was a jump from 196 million shoppers seen last year. But stick with me, because this gets interesting. Online shopping rose 3% to 134 million, making a slight dip in the number of customers who visited. A dip in visiting brick and mortar stores, which shouldn't be a big surprise. But what's surprising, it just keeps going up. The weekend saw 121 million in-store, which is down from 122. Stick with me. In a bid to stretch their Christmas budgets, here it is. Where's that thing? Yeah, there we go. Shoppers are also leaning on buy now, pay later, BNPL. Services such as Klarna or Affirm to avoid extra fees and interest that come with credit card payments. A record 940 million worth of purchases were made through BNPL or Cyber Monday, surging 42% from last year. Okay, right. So not using credit cards, but using BNPL. But still, that's a lot of spending on, we'll figure it out later. Payments firm Block also noted BNPL transactions through Afterpay surged 90% over the weekend, while Klarna said it saw a 29% increase in orders. Can you get into buy here, pay here with BNPL? I smell a dealership, BHPH plus BNPL equals you in a car. OOIDA, let's keep going. OOIDA Foundation report expect market to remain soft. Now, OOIDA is a trucking association. OOIDA expects market to remain soft. Signs of an upward turn don't exist. Expect current trends to continue to at least 2024. Well, it's only 30 days. Flat rates, high operating costs, soft volume demand. Nudge your trucking guy. You know, he wants to hear this part. I know, it's a traffic data show, but listen, man, listen. The van market, load to truck ratio fell 24% month over month, now 42% below the 5-year trend. Spot rates, contract rates, both decreased. Not typical at this time in freight season. Inventory to sales ratios also down. Monthly sales increased, providing a positive indicator for future truck demand. Household appliance wholesalers continued in the right direction. Okay, so dry van, 53 foot. Get it. Flatbed market. Let's look at this. Because here's the thing. I know. There are a lot of folks that have been doing freight to try to make up more income versus the car haul. And the question is, do we go back? When do we go back? What do we do? Here's your info. Flatbed, those load posts remain significantly lower than 2019. And equipment posts remained high. Not something you want to see. Construction spending remained elevated, but flatbed demand continued to drop, likely due to inflation. Housing starts moved up again in October, but we're still down quarter over quarter. Let's go to the reefer market. Refrigerated. October saw a large dip in demand. However, produce volumes look to pick up in the fall season. Truck capacity is flat, ending 3 consecutive months of losses. There's just nothing good anywhere. Trucking market. The Transportation Service Index says freight volumes were flat, while the Cash Shipment Index expects the freight market will continue to bounce along the bottom for the near term. Trucking employment numbers overall down, largely due to Yellow Corp closing its doors. New sales eclipsed used sales for the 3rd consecutive month, a negative sign for capacity. Transportation prices were contracting at their slowest rate since September 2022. Even though fuel prices ended their 2 months of increase, it's not going to help enough. Year-over-year comparisons of used truck prices have been negative for 11 consecutive months, a bad indicator for the overall freight market. Wages and salaries continue to grow, but real disposable income moved downward. You can now you can get the full market update. I'm going to share that with you. This is the full market update, and I'm going to put the link in the live chat in case you want to go check it out. There it is. Link is in the live chat. That is the full market update. OOIDA full market update. It's interesting. Get a copy. Have a copy. Plus, you'll see, if you look around, people are charging for market reports, but there's your free copy. I just saw this, USPS planning to increase their shipping prices. Prices will go up 5% on average, Priority Mail Express, 5.5+%. So, okay, UAW strike might be over, but will consumers feel it later is the question. Okay, warning, lots of speculation. But educated guesses will tell you that since they agreed to increase workers' pay by 25% over the life of the 4.5-year contract, it'll push employee pay hikes to 33% above current levels. That's a steep increase in labor. Well, yeah. Data from auto inventory and information tracking firm Edmunds indicates the strike was not long enough to impact vehicle prices in the short term. But in the long term, consumers will bear some of the cost burden over time, given that affordability is already a challenge. The automakers will not have an easy time passing along all of the cost to buyers. Will have to seek efficiencies in other ways. And what does that look like? Is that what that OEM agency model looks like? Hey man, let's start cutting out. How many third parties can we cut out? Just go direct to consumer, build to order. Will we have one Cybertruck order this year? Sweet. And I just, to throw it in there, Ford drastically scales back on jobs. Yeah, you see that too. So let's talk dealers and EV. Nearly 4,000 dealerships urge Biden to slow down on his EV push. Have you heard this? Right? In a letter, and lots of people signed the letter. Dealerships urge Biden to slow down. Okay? Wish I could do the SNL impression. I won't try. All right. Let's see. Citing an EPA proposal. Oh, right, the EPA. Yeah. Everybody loves that stuff. From April, that could push battery-powered vehicles to 60% of new vehicle sales by the 2030 model year and 67% by 2032. So, hey, guy, they think it's unrealistic. These vehicles are ideal for many people, and we believe their appeal will grow over time. Sounds judicious. The reality, however, is that electric vehicle demand today is not keeping up with the large influx of BEVs arriving at our dealerships, prompted by the current regulations. BEVs are stacking up on the lot. Which is, you don't want that. The dealerships argue customers are not ready to switch to fully electric vehicles because of unresolved challenges, such as access to reliable charging networks, vehicle affordability, range anxiety. That's not good. And then there's the letter. You can read the letter to the president. What's up, Silvermint? Go to, do this, EV Voice of the Customer.com. EVvoiceofthecustomer.com. Read the letter. There's even a list of the dealerships that have signed the darn thing. And NADA said U.S. franchise car dealers are doing their part to prepare for sell more EVs, including investments of more than $6 billion in training and equipment. It's more than painting a dealership. But any significant EV penetration into the mass market, which is where we're seeing stalled EV growth and all this new model inventory starting to pile up, will require a broad, unified strategy, etc., etc. There's many concerns in the entire auto industry. Now, NADA is coming up in February. It's called Driving the Future. It sounds like it'll be interesting. Let's keep going. Oh, that's the end of the news. Perfect. It's 7:14. Leverage ATI in your business. We don't ship cars. We move information. It's ATI Auto Business. And it's time for some punch. Do me a favor. Stick around because right after this, we're going to be live with Jamie Suid of Orbee. You don't want to miss it.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, We verify and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
Don't lose any more sleep worrying about missing leads. Get Transport Auto Quoter. Quote the right price the first time, anytime. Run your business with TAQ. Visit transportautoquoter.com. Links are in the live chat. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Please do help me wish a very warm welcome to Jamie Suid of Orbee. Jamie,
how's it going? Thank you, Jay.
How you doing?
Appreciate
it. Good to see you, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me tonight.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to finally get to meet you in person over at Used Car Week. Had a good time there.
That's right. So we got a chance to meet at Used Car Week, but we didn't really get a chance to talk because it's a busy place.
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't you start by this? I know you, but for anyone who's tuning in, doesn't know who you are, please tell us a little bit more about you and Orbee.
Sure. So for myself, I'm Director of Product Strategy here at Orbee. Basically, I've been in the business for around 20 years. Started on the sales floor at a Volkswagen dealership in 2004, 2003, something like that. And at that dealership, I kind of bounced around, learned a lot about the business, ended up moving to a vendor side with Auto Trader Publishing. If you've been around that long, you remember the magazine. I did that for a little while. From there, worked with another company called Dominion and their dealer specialties company. And there I transferred to actually a client of mine called Florida Fine Cars, which is a 5-store used car group based here in South Florida. And I was there for 12 years as the marketing director and chief strategy officer. And basically there, I was kind of like the data guy, the nerd of the dealership, if you will, where when someone had questions on why things were happening or to make sense of market conditions or what was happening, in our local market, that kind of thing, people came to me with questions, and it was my job to come up with answers and help with strategy building to keep us going on the right path. And with Florida Fine Cars, that's actually where I met Orbee. So I've actually was an Orbee client, started in probably 2017 or so. So I have a really long-standing relationship with Orbee as a customer for, six years. So I got to know them very well through time, helped them I should say they helped me really expand my ideas. As a franchise store, you don't have a lot of flexibility in certain things, but as a used car store, you have anything you want to do, right? There's no OEM rules. And so I was lucky to find them because, frankly, they were willing to sit down, listen to me, and explore these ideas. So we ended up building a few interesting solutions as a customer. And then just recently, this past year, I joined Orbee. So it was kind of like a long time coming, but I'm happy to be here. I get to talk to people like you and help dealerships all over the country now, and actually all over the world. We have a few clients outside of the U.S. that I'm talking to and helping them figure things out. But basically, what is Orbee? So Orbee and its genesis was basically built as an analytics platform, right, to help dealerships understand mainly what was happening on their website, but also to help them measure their campaign performance, right? To know, okay, I'm spending all these ad dollars. What am I really getting out of it, right? The magical ROI question. And so that's what Orbee was kind of born as. As the years have gone on, we've grown into turning into what many people call CDP, which is a customer data platform that basically takes everything to another level and really understanding what all of your shoppers on your website are really doing behaviorally, understanding their entire journey from when they first discovered you all the way to when they purchase a car. And then how you interact and then collect different data points and bring them all together so that you can serve them the most relevant creatives in your advertising possible. And then, yeah, so that's the nuts and bolts.
Wow. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, we got good background on your journey there and then what Orbee does. It would seem that there's a few things have happened for you. The world has tilted your way. Right? Because
yeah, it's a good thing I have an analytics mindset that I like to actually dig into data where most people kind of turn their heads at it and say, I don't really want to waste my time. I'd rather talk to a customer, or I'd rather talk to a client or something like that. Or I actually like to open up the different spreadsheets and the charts and things and really dig in, because to me, that's where a lot of the answers to most people's questions are.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say, because I was thinking thinking that too. I was thinking like, okay, you've got folks that can focus on sales, customer relations, but when there's a question, all right, who understands this stuff, right? Because I know, and that's the thing, when you ask about a website, hey, can we talk about your website? Most people are like, no, actually, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why don't most people want to talk about their website?
You know, it's funny, in my world, I would actually say that there's a large amount of people who really want to talk because...
Oh, in your world, right, they do.
In my world, yes. Okay. And the folks that I normally engage with, they're interested because, number one, is they recognize that that their website isn't just a website. Really, it's the place where the vast majority of the public is engaging with their company, right? It's their digital storefront. It's their digital showroom. And, you know, we'll spend so much time, and rightfully so, but so much time thinking about what's going on inside of our physical environments, but probably not as much time, you know, thinking about what's happening in my digital environment. And for a dealership, as an example, you know, you may see, let's just call it, I don't know, a few hundred, you know, maybe 1,000 maximum, you know, at a really big store, walk in and out of a showroom floor in a dealership, right? Something like that. But that same dealership on their website is probably going to touch anywhere between 50 and 100,000 people. So, you know, the scale is much larger.
Yeah. Wow.
And when you have all that data, you can really begin to figure out what people like, what they're doing, how can you start to measure things and engage with them at a higher level to get them to be one of those, you know, 1,000 people that shows up on your floor.
It's not just dealers, and that's the thing too, is that like,
yeah.
I'm looking at, right, like, I don't know of a logistics company that relies on national business that doesn't have some form of online intake. Now, I know someone's going to argue with me. There's going to be, you know, well, we do word of mouth and relationships, sure. But you still have to be able to utilize those online connections. Maybe if they're not just random leads. Although in auto transport, in the secondary market, the used cars, where do those leads come from? Internet leads.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the top producers on the first page of Google results know exactly what's happening on their website.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's funny, we talked briefly about this, and that we were talking about, you know, the used car week and our experiences there. And for us, we deal mainly with, you know, dealerships directly, right? With your tier 3 retailers and groups and things like that. And then a few higher level corporate partnerships. But or commercial partnerships, I should say. But there's a lot of folks that use Car Week that are in logistics. They're in, financing. They're in that type of thing. And I mentioned to you, I think that the interesting thing about Orbee and data really is that it applies to every vertical, right? If you have a website, like you've been saying on today's show, then I'm sure that you're curious about what's happening on there, because if you have a website, you're definitely trying to drive people to it, right? You're trying to get people to see it. So you're trying to get exposure.
Get them to sign up for a demo. That's right.
And you're trying to get them to convert, to fill out a form, to make a phone call, to do whatever. Take some sort of action, right? We'll call that a call to action on your website. And so if you're not measuring or, any of that activity, it's going to be very hard to know where you are and where you're going to go.
So the tools used, the primary tools to do this measuring, is it Google Analytics?
Google Analytics is definitely the largest. Let's face it, Google is the data king of the universe at this point. And so they offer this analytics tool. I would say another reason why people use it, because it's free, right? You don't have to pay anything to use it. You drop a piece of script on your website, and now all of a sudden you can measure everything that's happening on your website to a degree, and the only paid version is a really far more expensive platform that most, I would say tier 3 type of retailers are not going to use, but you can get a lot out of that free tool. And so, yes, there are other tools out there, Orbee being one, that can do other things layered on top of just analytics, but Google for sure is the big player.
Thank you. So Orbee is a tool.
Sure.
It's not just experts and information. Orbee is a subscription-based tool.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we like a Google Analytics, we will have you install a piece of code on your website that allows you to then see all these different interesting metrics and shopper behaviors, what we call shopper journeys, right? So I'll know that Jamie Suid, as an example, was on the website at this time. Now, I may not know that it's Jamie Suid yet, but as soon as Jamie Suid converts or fills out a form, if it's weird talking about myself in this way, but then I can identify. I can identify. Okay, that's Jamie Suid, and you know what? Here's all of his journey that led him up to this point. Here's the campaign he came into the website on. So now I know what keyword got Jamie into my digital storefront and got him to fill out a form, right? So that's where Orbee comes in, because we actually will help then automate that advertising end of it, so that you don't have to manually, worry about that kind of stuff.
Well, now is it true that, Mr. Suid, is it true that we want to know, when we're the store, we want to know everything we can about the shopper. But as the shopper, we don't want to give up any info.
Yes. So I would say that it's interesting. What we've seen, like between us and Europe, as an example, with they're a lot more tightly regulated in this regard. But what we find is that people don't mind, they actually prefer personalized experiences on websites, right? If you think of Amazon, you like that it's suggesting similar items to what you viewed or what you might be interested in. The only way they can show you that stuff is by watching what you're looking at. And so there are certain levels, and definitely nobody wants to, know, like, I don't obviously want someone to know who I am right off the bat. But once I've submitted a form, I kind of understand, like, okay, obviously this company now knows who I am, but as a business, like I said, now you can figure out how Jamie ultimately came to me. How did he discover me? And that's always been kind of that magic question. And so Orbee's able to connect those dots.
Well, it paints a picture where you've got a situation where you know more about the customer than they've told you. I'm saying, the proverbial.
Yeah, I follow.
But you can't let on that you know.
Sure.
Until, that's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are definitely regulations and compliance things that, when you go to a website, it'll say, you're aware of this.
We're in the weeds on this for sure. I mean, but what we're really talking about is you want to know. Who's coming to your website? What are they looking for? What are they doing? What did you wish they did? And what's the average visitor?
Yes.
Who are they? What's their demographic?
Sure. Yeah, and even on top of that, it's important that you do certain things, right? And I guess we can kind of really get into it, but that is, if you're not already doing this, number one is you need to make sure that you have an analytics platform installed, whether it's Google Analytics or some other platform. And then you start benchmarking things, right? You start understanding, okay, I need to know, it's important to me as like a key performance indicator, right? Like a KPI. I need to know how many times people viewed my product page. I need to know how many times people filled out my form or clicked to call or called the number. And so once you've identified those, then you need to start benchmarking, right? You need to know where you are today. Because frankly, you might be doing a really good job. I don't know. You won't know until you start measuring. Then once you do that, that's when you really start to have fun, because now you can start to experiment. Well, what if I move the form from here to here? Does that improve my conversion rate, right? Does it increase the percentage of people that fill out that form? Did one campaign perform better than another, right? And then so you take money from one campaign, put it into another one that's performing better, and then you just continuously optimize.
So now that we've turned the table on, if you have a website, and most people have a web page, they really do want to know how many people got there, what did they do, what didn't they do that I wish they did, and who are they on average? Because nobody wants to waste time advertising to a group that isn't paying attention or following through on any of the calls to action. Be like buying a huge billboard and then that road is closed for 6 months.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's important because every dollar counts, right? Every dollar that your business is spending matters. And I felt that, very strongly at my previous employer at the dealership, because I worked very closely with the operator, with the owner. And so we didn't have, co-op money, which is money that, let's say, the OEM provides a dealership so long as they, pass a certain message on to the consumer, where they actually provide funds for that. So every dollar that I was spending at this dealership was coming out of our pocket, so I had to make sure that every dollar counted and that I was being as efficient and effective as possible.
And essentially, that goes for all departments in all businesses. You can only spend so money for so long that didn't really go anywhere.
Correct.
Especially if you can't even report on where it went.
Exactly.
Right. All right, perfect. All right, so we have laid a proper foundation, because next what we're going to do is stick around, Jamie. We're going to bring in Allie and Dana. We're going to continue this conversation. We're talking about website traffic, data analytics. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah, so let's be honest with it. Everybody, as an operator, like myself, we're always looking to save expense, okay? And so if I can get a product that is just as efficient as another product and yet save a ton of money, that's what I'm going to do. And so I think the value proposition that Dealerslink offers is unmatched, right? For what we spend on Dealerslink, for what we get from Dealerslink, full spectrum, the marketplace's support, the OEM data, the Fastbook tool, the mobile applications that you have, the value proposition is huge. And I definitely would recommend, I have recommended, we are continuing to install it into our stores as we speak.
Request a live demo at dealerslink.com now.
Are you ready to take a leap into the future of vehicle logistics? Auto Hauler Exchange is the first pure B2B marketplace in vehicle logistics, where shippers and carriers live and work directly in one ecosystem with no middleman. Shippers simply post their shipping opportunities directly to highly vetted carriers around the country. Once a carrier sees a shipment opportunity which fits their need, they simply check that shipment out of the exchange with just a few clicks of a button and with no third-party interaction, getting your vehicle on the road with ease. We have proven our B2B marketplace is a more efficient, transparent model for vehicle logistics, where shippers and carriers connect one-on-one. Take it from our clients themselves. Get off the vehicle hauling roller coaster today with Auto Hauler Exchange.
Auto Hauler Exchange B2B marketplace connects shippers directly with carriers. That means putting the power of the business transaction back in the carrier's hands. Visit autohaulerexchange.com. Links are in the live chat. Here we go. Please do wish me, help me, wish a very warm welcome. We've got Allie and Dana here with us tonight. Allie and Dana, can you see me and hear me okay?
You can see and hear you.
Yes, that's
see and
yes.
hear you.
All right, Allie, this is your first time on ATI. Please tell us a little bit more about you and the dealership where you work.
Yeah, so my name's Allie Pinon. I am the marketing director at Chastang Auto Group. We have one rooftop, 2 stores. We have the Ford brand, and then we also have Auto Car. So I've been doing marketing for like the past 12 years, going on 13.
Perfect. I have a marketing degree. Jamie worked in marketing. Allie worked in marketing. Dana, do you have a marketing background?
Yeah, I worked in
Really?
PR marketing in the beginning of my career, and I actually have a degree in PR and marketing and journalism.
Nice.
Oh, just a degree in PR, marketing, and journalism. Awesome. All right. Well, let's continue on the data and the marketing and the website and the leads. Jamie, where should we go next now that we have guests with us?
Am I the host, Jay?
Yeah, kind of. I'm handing it over. I'll give you the keys. You drive.
Yeah. So, in full disclosure, Allie and I, know each other, worked together for a long time, and is just someone that I thought, would be a good fit because not only is she basically doing what I did for a long time, in her role, but also as a dealership that works in commercial. I think that she also fits well, with your audience as well. And then,
I agree.
It's interesting. I'm curious to hear more also from Dana because my experience at Used Car Week was interesting. So that was the first time I was at that particular event. And it's interesting because a lot of the logistics folks and the finance folks too, but a lot of logistics stop by our booth and it's like they all realize that their data is very important. Yeah. And so everybody recognized that, right? They all have had that revelation, but a lot of them are still kind of curious about what should I really be doing with it, from their standpoint. But I don't know, I just kind of found it interesting to have some different conversations. Usually it's with dealerships and this time a different audience. So curious to see how you all approach data on your side when it comes to analytics and marketing.
And I want to throw this in there. We've been talking about data. What's marketing? For anybody, there's going to be somebody somewhere that doesn't understand what marketing really is. What's marketing?
I don't want to overspeak, but
I want you
so marketing is basically, I'm probably the worst person to explain it, right? But it's
okay.
basically
it's hard to
it's
explain.
Basically just, it is, because people ask me, what do I do at the dealership? And I'm like, everything. But it's basically targeting your audience, right? If you're a business owner, you need to target the right audience. And it's important that your message is reaching the right people. And with a compelling ad, right? Nobody something
Message,
that benefits your
branding,
consumer.
Mission, right? All these things.
Exactly.
Yeah, and audience, yeah. Now I think, Dana, I see you ready to say something. Because there's a lot of key words that can go into marketing.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, it's marketing, it's hard. I'm not in it anymore. Apparently logistics is easier. It's not. But there's a point A, there's a point B, right? So it's as long as you know where you're picking up and where you're going, you're all set, right? There's a couple nuances in between there. But it's hard to find your target audience, right? You can get a general idea of, okay, I know who I need to go after. But then when you think of like analytics and data, which is great about having that information, is like, well, it leads you in another direction sometimes, right? Well, maybe we should be targeting this group, and we weren't going after this area. So that's why data analytics are so important, and why we're working on collecting it all the time. And then like how to reach that target audience, right? It's very specific, especially when it comes to transportation, and we're trying to reach carriers, and whether it's podcasts or how do we reach them, how do we specifically find them? They're driving on the road somewhere, right? So you need those data analytics to find the right people, and how do you get that message across.
And you just tipped on the word research, right? There's a lot of research in marketing.
Yeah.
More than I think is thought of.
Yes.
And
I think it's
that we forget is retention, like the people that we already have.
Good point. It's not just finding new customers; it's retaining the ones you've already got. And Jamie, when we were talking, Jamie said, like, was it you want to build an audience, then hold the audience, and then monetize that audience?
Exactly.
That was very astute. All right, I'm giving you the keys back. I just wanted to talk about marketing for a minute. I don't know if we've ever done that on ATI. It's kind of cool.
So yeah, with the website and finding your audience, retaining the audience, etc. Anybody can kind of, like what Dana was saying, is you'll have a rough idea of like, okay, obviously if I'm trying to market to car haulers, that's a good starting point, right, for your business. But then it could be, car haulers plus what, car haulers that are in a certain area, hauling specific items, right? So that you can start to whittle that down to a more specific audience, and that will only help make your marketing dollar more efficient and effective, right? Because if you're truck haulers or car haulers or shippers, right, it gets very general. And so if you're advertising to a very specific, hauler, then your audience is going to change and your message is going to change. So if you start bringing in people that ship livestock, but you're really trying to get car shippers, they're probably going to come to your website and bounce, meaning leave immediately. Right. So that was a wasted dollar on that click or whatever that cost per click was. So, but again, if you're not measuring that, then you would never know. You just say, oh, I'm getting more people to my website, right? But if you're not really looking at things and paying closer attention, you could be wasting some money.
That's an interesting example. Let's keep that example in mind, right? Because somebody can say, man, we're getting a lot of hits. Yeah, but they're all looking to ship horses.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. It's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So, do you have, I probably should have asked this earlier, do you have any screenshots or anything to look at? Can we pretend we're looking under a hood? What can we do beyond, right? We can continue to talk about it. I know we didn't do a full rehearsal. And while I'm saying that too, like, okay, what other areas?
Sure.
Because I think we just hit upon traffic. Okay. You got to make sure you're getting the right traffic. What other fundamentals do you need to make sure you're getting right?
So on your website, there's quite a bit that you can measure and then optimize. That can be anything from just the way that it looks and feels to how fast it loads, right? If a website loads really slowly, people are not likely to stick around, especially with mobile devices usually being on a cell tower instead of Wi-Fi. If it's loading too slow, people are not going to stick around. If it's not created in a more modern UI environment, meaning it's not, when you load it on a phone, as an example, does it present itself clearly? Do you sometimes have too many things for a visitor to choose from? Right? If my job as a dealership is, let's say my goal is to get more forms, I better make it as easy as possible to find that form and fill it out. All right. I don't want to have it, click here to make it pop up and then click this to open this. And if you have too many steps and that kind of thing, it might for sure lessen the amount of people that are going to complete that form. And so using analytics, you can actually measure what's called a form completion rate, right? And so once you measure that, and again, going back to like benchmarking, you can say, well, what if I took off this one field that maybe we really don't need? We only need these 3, but we're asking for 5. If we take those 2 away, will we get more form completions? You know? And so if you see that, and then you can start streamlining. And so there's all those different, we call those in marketing, those would be like A/B experiments or A/B testing, right? To say, okay, I want to have half my people try this form, the other half try that form, and see kind of who performs better, right? So there's a lot that you can do once you start measuring. But I would say for me, the key is to know where you are today. The key is to benchmark. So that's number one, is to like, you got to find out exactly where you are right now. And then you can start worrying about making things better and making some adjustments to hopefully improve. But at least test. And you're going to have some tests that are not going to end up positive. You're going to test some things that are going to end up with a worse result. I guarantee it. It's just part of the process. But as long as you're measuring, you'll catch those quickly, right? So you don't lose out too much. But it's just the nature of the game.
All right, I got a question, but I want to see if Allie or Dana wants to jump in.
No, you can shoot. Then I have a question after, I think.
All right. It's no secret at trade shows, especially, and online publications, and other shows. There's so many dealer website merchandising solutions. Is there something you're thinking when you see several things and you're like, man, here's my advice? Is there anything like that? Like, is there something that is being missed, or is everything pretty awesome?
I think it's whatever fits your brand and your process. Whenever you're looking at tools, or like, for example, I'll use my store as an example, right? We are a commercial truck store for Ford, but we also do retail. So we cater to business to customer and then business to business. And how can my one website cater to both? A lot of times there are tools out there like digital retailing that doesn't, like, my commercial fleet manager is not going to want to buy a vehicle online. Like, he wants to talk to a commercial account manager. He wants to like go through the specs and make sure that he's getting the right one. So I think when you're looking at tools, you have to demo them and you have to figure out which one will follow your process and fits your, I want to say, like, culture, your brand, something that you believe in that's going to work out. And then also a vendor that will become a partner, not just somebody that's trying to sell you something.
It's a good answer, and actually probably demonstrates the usefulness of at a trade show. You can be in a booth, get a demo, learn, talk, right? Kick the tires.
Exactly.
Sounds like NADA.
Yes.
There's a lot of that at NADA. Dana, what were you going to add?
I was just going to say, so I'm curious with your platform a little bit with Orbee. So do you go and actually, I guess, kind of review the website and look for, SEO key terms, or I guess go from there? Yeah. You kind of, it's all kind of the same, but then is it incorporated? Because now I'm thinking like what Allie just said about how, knowing your brand and your culture too. So it's important to keep those keywords as well too, but do you kind of go through those websites and tailor it to the company? And then also, but what else is going to, bring you consumers to your website as well?
Yeah, so I definitely, for Orbee, we will definitely go in and assist in any way that we can, on a client's website. So that includes going through, let's say, Google Analytics for you to help you understand, number one, what am I looking at? Number two, how can we set it up to better tailor to your needs, right? Custom reports that you can build in there, things like that.
Okay.
Within Orbee itself, you will get a lot of good information on your visitors to know from what channel did they come from, a lot of good ROI stuff, right? Return on your investments and spend, or return on ad spend. You'll know your visitor journeys, not only where did they come in from in terms of marketing channel, but also how long did it take them to maybe move down the funnel, so to speak, right? So maybe it takes them 3 weeks, depending on the ad source, if you will, to ultimately convert. But if you knew that one channel, their visitors convert in 2 weeks versus 30 days, so they convert in half the time, you might make a decision there to say, well, maybe I take some of the money from that one that's taking twice as long and put it more towards the one that is converting quicker. So there's that in terms of the analytics pieces. And then also a lot of programmatic or automated marketing campaigns based on different types of people. So like what Ali was speaking to when it comes to segmentation of your audiences, right? Because not everybody's the same. We're consumers, we know what it's like to get personalized advertising that speaks to us, that knows these are the kinds of, shoes or cars or what have you, or sports that I'm into. And so it's the same with dealerships and customers. Ford Mustang shoppers don't necessarily, I would say in most cases, want to see Ranger advertising. It's not going to speak to them, right? Or F-150s. And vice versa, right? F-150 shoppers, it's probably a waste to send them your latest Mustang specials, right? So we want to make sure that we're speaking to those clients in a way that matters to them. So we can definitely on that front too, and that's actually something that we help Ali with.
Oh, okay.
Segmentation. Let's go. This is like an automotive marketing class. It is. This is awesome. So, all right. Well, we're in our final segment, I would say, in that I think a question I've got is, so Dana and Ali, in a generic way, what do you think you'd like to, if you could sit with Jamie, what would you want to see him do with your website and analytics to, soup it up? It's like having a mechanic over for dinner. Hey, do you mind if we look at the Bronco there in the old garage? You're right. What do you think? What are some ideas maybe?
I know, just because I use Orbee, but
okay, perfect. Okay, great. Please, please.
Okay. Well, Jamie, so Google Analytics came out with like a brand new Google Analytics, right? GA4, and that is just, it was a cluster, and I did not feel comfortable, or not comfortable, well, comfortable, but I didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't feel like what it was tracking was correct. And Jamie was able to go in and just put some reports together and kind of fix it. So he solved my problems. The other thing,
nice.
Orbee is not paying me to say this, but I basically use them to, not only do I use them for my Google Analytics and going through all of my data, but they help with my attribution. So you always want to know where your ad dollars are going and how are they spending. So when I come up with my attribution report, it's just so much easier, because I have a general sales manager and he's like, where did this customer come from? And then I used to be like, I don't know, it came from Google, organically or paid, I don't know, right? And now Orbee's able to tell me okay, this came from your Google CPC, this came from your Google retargeting, this came from Facebook, this came from, and for some reason, Google Analytics didn't pick up on all of it. It would just say direct. So yeah, I feel
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is the ROI, right? That's a win-win. Everybody's high-fiving in that situation.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge. That's the number one question for us too, because we, so I guess I'm curious too. So we get a lot of people that message us through our website, right? And so, right now it's just me following up saying, hey, where'd you hear of us? Because they're coming from there. So,
sure. Yeah, of course.
is there a way to track maybe where they came from? And, someone's like, oh, I saw you in a chat, or I saw you here, or something like that too. So, because wherever obviously wherever they came from, we want to know where they came from so we can either promote or you see if it was, some kind of organic conversation or what it was too, or how do we, continue to cultivate wherever that came from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's something that I used it for, frankly, when I was managing this group that I was with. So it's important. I think that attribution, yes, like you got to know where to most effectively spend your money, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's also important, frankly, to you get to a point where attribution can become a bit of a never-ending black hole, because we used to call this thing the zero moment of truth. I don't know if you ever heard of this term, ZMOT. And this is from maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that, 10 years ago. I'm getting old these days. Something like 10 years ago. And that was the thing. It was like trying to chase this idea of like, when did someone have this epiphany that they needed to find a hauler or a commercial van or something? And then companies were born out of this, thing to try and chase attribution down to this minute detail. And for me, when I was managing, a pretty sizable monthly budget, I didn't have the time, number one. And number two is like, you'll never know that moment. I mean, frankly, it's just, I think it's a fruitless effort. When you can get to a certain level of attribution, like what Allie's speaking to, or probably like what you were alluding to, which is, okay, let's say I ran this campaign on Instagram or on Facebook, and X amount of people came to my website, X amount of people converted. And then because now we can identify those folks by looking at our sales data or our CRM data as an example, and then connect those dots, then we can really see this is where that money kind of came from, or this is where those sales came from. But to go beyond that is, to me, it's a bit much. You can start to see layers, this is called multi-touch attribution, right? Because there's going to be a lot of different touch points, especially in a car shopper journey. They're going to go to dozens of websites ultimately to research whatever car they're going to buy. And so to try and find that magic silver bullet thing, to me, is like, it's a bit of a waste of time when you're really trying to run a day-to-day operation. Once you kind of figure out, okay, this is where the majority of my sales are happening, and I can connect those dots, to me, that's kind of like, that's good enough, unless you have just like a never-ending budget with a humongous team, and then you can really dig into it. Okay, fine, then I guess. But I was a one-man show basically, so I really didn't have time to get into the super duper nitty-gritty. But as long as I could provide, I heard this data guy once speak at a conference, and he was from Austria, but he ran this company, and he thought it was so funny because this whole thing was about attribution. And dealerships, we want like 100% attribution. We want to know where every single dollar went. I want to know where every sale came from, et cetera. And the guy thought that was so funny. He's like, I watch your presidential elections on TV, and it's like, you guys call voting results with like 2% of the vote in, and your president's decided. But here, to sell a car, you want to know 100% of this attribution. And that really made me think, like, that's pretty funny. But also, there's some truth to that. It's like, do I really need to get to 100%? One, it's going to be impossible, but number two is like, you get to a certain level, it's good enough. And then as long as you're tailoring that advertising to constantly churn the proper segments and audiences, then you'll be in good shape.
So it sounds like it's definitely helpful for, we spent the past year, kind of throwing an ad here, putting an ad here, and what's really helpful, I guess, with your website is seeing collectively where we put those dollars, where we are getting the actual response from there. So that's like the main data we want to see, right? It's not kind of those one-offs messages here and there too. It's like and that's what we're doing. We're pulling a bulk of dollars, into Meta or whatever it is that day, and are we getting the return on it?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Amazing.
It's great.
Awesome. We got a topic, we got a panel, we've got solutions. That was amazing. So we reached our time limit for this evening. So class is dismissed here on the ATI Automotive Business Degree channel. Allie, Dana, Jamie, thank you all so much for taking the time to join this conversation tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's great to meet you, Jamie and Allie.
Same.
Great to see you.
And in fact, before I let you go, I guess contact information. What's the best way to, if somebody wants to contact you, Jamie, what should they do?
So either you can just, find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty certain I'm the only Jamie Suid on LinkedIn, so it shouldn't be too hard. Or my email is just jamie.suid@orbee, ORBEE.com.
Perfect. And visit ORBEE.com for those on the podcast. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you all so much. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Jim.
right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
I don't have my gavel anymore. Okay, good night. All right, see you. All right, good night. All right, and the meeting is over. That was really cool. That was fun. And I do enjoy talking about marketing. Logistics has taken a front seat here on ATI for quite a long time. And now it is sitting alongside other principles, sales, marketing, logistics. And then, we got executive and administration, and there's the porter and the car puller and then the gate pass and all that stuff. There's really a lot, right? And that's the goal is, I just wrote down, ATI is a business degree. So if you watch enough of this channel, you'll learn enough about so many of the other verticals and services and job titles in automotive that you should be able to pretty much talk to anybody. So, and Ashley, that's cool. Thank you so much, Ashley. And ZMOT, I wasn't familiar with that. I don't know if I've heard of that before. So that was my takeaway for this evening. And there's the bell. Peach Transport. James Cargo is in the live chat. Thanks, James. Auto Hall Exchange, of course, in the live chat. Silver Mint. Kimberly. What's up, Kimberly? Thank you so much for joining in. Car Hauling with Chip made it in. Mark Grodicke. Oh, yeah. Mark Grodicke. Dude. Making martinis in the live chat. Thank you so much, Mark. Really do appreciate it. I want to thank Murphy Auto Transport, Superflow Systems, Dealerslink, Auto Hauler Exchange. Thank you so much, Jamie Suid and Orbee, Allie of Chastang Auto Group, and of course Dana Randazzo, COO Auto Hauler Exchange. Thank you so much for joining our live program for this evening. And Adriana Lafita, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thursday on Dispatching Live, we're going to do kind of a repo car hauling with Rob Stevenson. Chris Chamberlain made it in here tonight. What's going on, Chris? Look at that. How many bells? When is this? That's the digital bell, mind you, so it shouldn't be so harsh on the ears. So repo car hauling on Thursday. Joe Overby of Cherokee Media next Tuesday. We are now onto the Tuesday-Thursday track, and most shows will have a guest, and most shows will be an hour long. Oh, I know, right? Oh, man. Say it ain't so. It is. And most shows will now follow the 15-minute, tell your friends, spread the word, measure the traffic. It's going to be 15 minutes of news and information. And then at the 15-minute mark to about the 30-minute mark is the feature interview-ish. And on Dispatching Live, we won't really have panels. We are searching for loads and talking logistics and celebrating that in car hauling. You can do whatever you want. Okay, there's another bell. All right. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, I got to run this car hauler. I got to get out of here too. I got to let you all go. Thank you so much. Join me again soon. If you missed the show live, watch it on demand. If there's something pressing that we need to discuss, be sure to send in your comments to autotransportintel@gmail.com. And that's the podcast. Get the podcast on your favorite, pretty much any podcasting platform at this point. If you can't find it, let me know. Send me an email. autotransportintel@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. Take care. Talk to you soon. Peace out. Love.